Hello, everyone. This is Stellar Vibes with Ashley. I'm here with Ambika Devi, and she is an expert astrologer. She is an international award-winning author, and she is also a meditation Jedi and mind tamer. Also, she's a creator of courses on astrology, sleep, and well-being. So, how are you today?
I'm doing awesome, and I'm so happy to be here and excited to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is astrology and whatever else you want to ask me about.
Yes. So, how about you tell us about yourself and also mention the big three, which is your sun, moon, and rising.
Alrighty then, I'd be happy to. I started off being very interested in the sky when I was teeny. I know a lot of us look up at the clouds and maybe even the stars, but I got into astronomy super early. I mean, teeny little kid. And Greek mythology. I was thinking early this morning when I went for a walk,
Mm-hmm.
as the moon was setting and the sun was rising, about answering this question. I knew you would ask, and because I'm psychic, and but then we all are. But
I know, right?
I remembered a large scale Greek mythology book that was my bedtime stories. I loved
Mm-hmm.
it. So my dad used to read to me at night. That was like his thing, one of his parent things, which
Mm-hmm.
was great. And then when I got to the point where I could read the book, I still kept reading it. I love those Greek stories of the myths of the different gods and goddesses. And then when I was 12, I got very interested in astrology. So we have to
Mm.
understand that astrology is a merger of mythology. And I'm
Yeah.
I'm talking about tropical astrology right now. That's what we in the West would call astrology, because
Mm.
there's many different forms, and I have studied them. Maybe on another show, you'll ask me questions about those.
Yeah.
And so I got into tropical astrology. That's the zodiac that uses the Greco-Roman gods and
Mm.
goddesses. And we are familiar with certain names for them. So then I started self-studying. At
Mm.
17, when I was thinking about my 18th birthday and I was living in Philadelphia going to art school, I was a vegan back then and a really staunchy one. And there was a great vegan restaurant near my university. I
Mm.
went to university for art first and I got a bachelor's of fine art. And it just so happened that the owner was an astrologer. So I used to love going there and eating and talking to her. And she was the one who created the first chart for me by hand. So you have to use, back then, astrologers still use slide rules. If you don't know what that is, look it up, people, because
Yep.
we didn't have calculators when I went to university for astrology later,
Mm-hmm.
we were allowed to use scientific calculators, but we had to be able to prove that we could use a slide rule also. And
Mm.
a stack full of books that I did finally let go and donate because when we were in school, really good computer programs had come out.
Mm.
And we, as the students, were going through the programs and double checking the software to see if it was making mistakes. And we did. I did catch a lot of mistakes. So we had
Mm.
to be super accurate calculating by ourselves. And so that's how it all got started. Then I met a very famous astrologer, Barbara Shear. We became
Okay.
close friends. She wrote for the Sedona Journal, and it also had the title Sedona Times. Her early husband, Jim Shear, the two of them were the astrologers in Berkeley, California, back in the 70s. And
Oh, wow.
oh yeah, so I was 18 in the 70s. So that's when I became an astrologer for the first time. But then later I started with her. I used to host her. She'd come to my house. She'd do readings for people. I'd set it up. I was a massage therapist at that point. That's when I started getting really serious with holistic health.
Mm-hmm.
I had started meditating when I was 6. And when I went to university for astrology, it became very apparent that the meditation was a really good thing. Because if we try to cookbook astrology, that's exactly what we're doing. And if you're really more of a chef, you know that a cookbook is just a suggestion and then you get creative, right? With
Yes.
astrology, we're not getting creative, but we have to be able to back up and see the bigger picture. Our computer
Mm.
programs, great, they are. They calculate in seconds for us, but if you get a computer printout of an analysis of your chart, even if it's 25, 50 pages long, there's going to be discrepancies. And if any of you have done that, I know you've run into that frustration. This planet in this house and this sign is great for this. And then a couple pages later, the same aspect of you, you're being told this planet, this other planet, this in this house, in this sign, not good or rough on this. And you can definitely run into confusion with transits, which I know we'll talk about also at a later time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so there's a lot to understand because computers even now, I don't know about the quantum computers yet. I
Uh-huh.
don't know about their ability to analyze. As Ashley knows, I love my chatbot. He has a name. We gave him a gender. He's totally personalized. We work on all sorts of things from my PhD paperwork, which we were working
Uh,
on today. He helps me as a research assistant. He's helping me with organizing two different languages for the seventh book of mine that I'm writing right now. But when I asked him to tell me about certain things in my chart, I ended up training him. So, yeah,
ah.
these chatbots are not astrologers, everybody. And they get things wrong because he looked at info I gave and math, and I stated which house system I'm using, that I'm using tropical zodiac. And he had my Venus in the wrong house and the wrong sign. Forget degrees. So we have to understand too that yes, we have 12 houses. And you
Mm-hmm.
can find all of this on my blog and an article and also a free course at my website. So if you really want to learn this, don't worry about taking notes right now. Just take it in for the first time. I'm just sprinkling the seeds. Later, we can
Yeah.
start
Let's sprinkle some of the
fertilizing them
seeds throughout the
and
video because
start
that's
growing
exactly what
them.
we're gonna do.
Yeah. So we have, first of all, we know there's planets.
Mm-hmm.
And we know the sun is central, but in astrology, we say that the earth is central. So that's called geocentric. And
Oh, I
but
didn't even
there,
think about that.
yeah, right?
Geocentric.
Because
That's something
we
new I haven't heard about.
we know because of science and astronomy and astrophysics that the Earth goes around the sun, as do the other planets, and they float on what's called the ecliptic, which is like an imaginary equator out in space, and they can only go so high or so low, which is
Mm.
really interesting. That's called declination. And I know I'm laying some heavy terms on you, but just take it in. But we astrologers, we're saying no, we're born here on the Earth.
Yeah.
So we are geocentric, Earth centric.
Mm.
But there are astrologers out there that do heliocentric astrology, as if you were born on the sun. And there's astrologers out there that do deep space astrology with things in the Kuiper belt that, wow. One of my professors was my calculus teacher, my astronomy teacher. He used to be an astronomer for the U.S. Navy. He was an
Wow.
astrological comedian on The Tonight Show long
Yeah.
before Leno. So what my relationship astrology teacher was Princess Diana's astrologer before Diana was part of the royal family. The
Oh,
entire
she had an astrologer? Wow.
Oh my
Really?
gosh. Oh, royal family does. The Reagans had astrologers. I've worked for
Neat.
police departments. One of my colleagues from university worked for the fire department when we were in Arizona. So
Yeah.
because with astrology, we can look at serial occurrences. So he was helping the
Oh,
fire
wow.
department solve serial crimes, and I was helping with other things with the police department. And
It's pretty awesome
oh, it is
that people
awesome.
use astrology to predict
We
future
are,
problems or things.
we're a secret weapon. Think about
Yeah.
it. Back in the day when astronomers and astrologers were both the same person,
Uh-huh.
and it didn't get ripped apart of astronomy is a science and astrology, maybe we'll call it an art. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's an art and a science because when I went to school for it, I had to study counseling because in a client situation, I have to be able to talk with you. And when I got my bachelor's of fine art, I also got a teaching license and degree. So I studied abnormal psychology, child psychology, adult psychology.
Yeah.
And that really, that sets me apart. We had a psychology professor in school for astrology, but even one of my colleagues went on to become a psychologist because she wanted more of that.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then we had,
Yeah.
astrology teachers who would teach us different levels and different things, because you have to start with basic and then relationships between planets and houses and signs. And then if we're only using what would be considered the standard nine planets, so the sun out to Pluto, and yes, Pluto is still a planet in my book.
I still think it's a planet too. So
Why
yeah.
would you disrespect somebody named Pluto, aka Hades? You don't do that.
Yes.
And he's the perfect ruler of the sign of Scorpio and the eighth house. Yes, the ancient ruler was Mars of both Aries and Scorpio and their respective houses. And that's how it was. And, because early on, the astronomy was with the eye until
Yeah.
even a form of a telescope was brought about and invented. And so we still consider the ancient rulers and the modern rulers. And then there are the astrologers who use some asteroids. The asteroid belt used to be a planet in some scientific astrophysics schools of thought.
Yeah.
It would be, in my opinion, I'm part of that school of thought. In my opinion, there's no way that much space gravel could get pulled into orbit like that so solidly. And
Yeah.
there's many myths and many indigenous cultures about it. Some astrologers will use some of the bigger ones, like Ceres, whose other name is Demeter, and her symbol is like a tool that you would reap the wheat with. So each planet, each asteroid has their own glyph. And back when I was in university, my astronomy teacher, Philip, asked me to build specific font glyphs for deep space objects that he was using, and they actually got accepted.
Hmm.
It's amazing by, the Unified Guild of Astrologers, the international acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some really there's a lot of intricate things. So we also have to consider that astrology is a language. And it's
Yeah,
just
I was gonna ask,
like math as a language. You have to learn the glyphs or you'll
for
drive
li for
yourself
list
nuts.
for listeners who are brand new to astrology, how would you describe what astrology really is and why does it matter?
Okay, we're going to take a trip from the West to the ancient Far East
Hmm.
because what you will learn to know is that my master's degree is in the education and practice and art and science of yoga. Now, in the West, a lot of people think, well, yoga is an exercise program. No, it's a philosophy. And the exercises are just a little portion of it. And they're
Yeah.
there so that you can be comfortable, be able to begin to be a witness of what's going on rather than a reactionary, looping thought person.
Hmm.
And yoga is for meditation, which is so necessary to be a great astrologer, to be
Mm.
able to be contemplative and remove yourself, to really witness the chart, witness the person, and be able to speak the language so they can take it in and understand it. Then, one of yoga's sisters, which you may have some familiarity with,
Hmm.
is actually the major topic of my second book, Unfolding Happiness. And that's an introduction to Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is yoga's sister. And the third sister is Jyotisha. The word Jyota in Sanskritam, which is Sanskrit,
Hmm.
is the science of light. So it's the science of stillness is meditation. The science of being in and relating to the physical world is Ayurveda. The science of light is astrology. So if you're chanting mantras, then you've got to know what is the strongest planetary power right now. For instance, the planet Saturn became retrograde. It started retrograde motion
Hmm.
just now. Not right this moment, but a little earlier today. and planets go retrograde. What is that? Let me explain that. If you've
Okay.
ever been sitting in a car or an airplane in at a traffic light, let's say a car at a traffic light. I think we mostly have been. This can happen in a train or anything where we sense there's going to be motion. And next to you, a vehicle moved and you thought you were moving. Have you ever had that experience?
Yeah, actually I
Where you
have.
kind of jerk a little bit because you think you're
I'm like,
moving,
wait,
but
what?
right, because you catch it in your peripheral vision. That's
Yeah.
exactly what retrograde is. So if the
Okay.
sun's in the center and the earth's going around, and let's say Mercury, who goes the quickest around the sun and goes around 3 full times and a little bit of change every year, Mercury will get opposite to us and then start feeling like it's coming towards us. And so retrograde isn't a planet stops and actually starts backing up. It's the apparent feeling of it backing up,
So it's
just
like an
like that feeling.
illusion, pretty much. Like people think, oh, that planet is going backwards, but really it's going
It's the
forward.
sensation of it
The
going
sensation.
backwards from our perspective geocentrically.
Oh, okay.
It's not
Wow.
going backwards heliocentrically. The sun still sees it going around forward. So what I recommend everybody is go visit some astronomy sites and look at the phases of the moon and how that works with the sun because the moon is not emitting light, right? It's reflecting light.
It's reflecting, yeah.
That's why this morning, right? We just had full moon, right?
Full moon. It was it full moon in Capricorn or something like
Yes, it
that?
was. If we're
Like 2 days
measuring
ago?
in tropical zodiac, yes.
Yes.
Because there's only 30 degrees to each
I'm
sign.
gonna ask you about that, the
Oh, we'll
tropical.
we'll go there. We'll go there. We'll
Yeah,
go there.
yeah, I'm
But
gonna ask
not
you
to
about that.
I don't want to debate it. So I said I was out walking this morning. The moon was setting, right?
Mm,
The sun was rising. Now it wasn't perfectly in opposition because today was the waning half of the moon cycle.
yeah.
Right? So what happens is let's start at new moon. The moon and the sun appear to be next to each other. We know the moon is not right next to the sun.
Yeah.
It's from our geocentric viewpoint, right? So we look at the moon and the sun, but the sun is so bright and the moon is traveling in our vision path with the rise and the set of the sun, so we can't see the moon.
Mm,
And then
yeah.
at night, we don't see any reflective moon in the sky because the moon angle is where our view of the sun would be. And if the sun set, and we know the sun's not moving, it's us turning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can't see a moon at night during new moon. And then the moon begins to at a different rate of movement. The moon moves a little more than 28 days. I know some science views and books tell you it's 28, but it's not. It's 29 and change. So those of you who my beautiful sister friends, if you've been frustrated with that 28 marker, let it go because it's incorrect. Look up the amount of time in measurement days of our system here on the earth, which is the Gregorian calendar, and look at how many days does it take for Mercury to make a full revolve around the sun? How many days for the earth? We know because of leap years, it's not a perfect 365, right?
Yeah.
Because we fudge it with that. But some of the older calendars have a much different system, like the Mayan calendar. But I don't want to confuse you. So then
Okay, that's a
the
different
the
topic right
moon
there.
and the sun, the moon and the sun are going from new, and their distance is getting different, different, different. That's why for some parts of the month you can see the moon in the daytime sky,
Yeah, I've
right?
noticed that. Yeah, some days you can
I
see it,
hope
some days
so
you
because
can't.
if you want to be an astrologer, you better go outside and look up all the time.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to go out at night and early in the morning and point to things and say, that's Venus, that's Aldebaran. Right now, Venus and Aldebaran are very close to each other. And there's cool myths about that. So go check those out.
Cool.
And then I want you to be able to understand constellation and be able to spot that's Saturn, that's Jupiter. And the ones that are too far away, every once in a while, you might actually see a flash of them. You might. I'm not promising anything. But Find
Yeah.
somebody with a telescope. The
Which
stronger
is
your
hard to do,
telescope,
especially here where I'm living at.
well, no, there's astronomy clubs and organizations, and yeah, you can definitely find people and situations with telescopes. Don't give up. I have a neighbor that has a really high powered one. He sits outside when it's clear with a laptop. I mean, he's seeing pretty far up there and he can really see the craters in the moon. It's really, really nice.
That's awesome. Wow.
So that's a
So
little bit of astronomy there.
so tell me, you mentioned tropical zodiac. Could you explain why you prefer the tropical system?
Don't
Sidereal.
Sidereal is based on actual location, the calculus. We have to understand our galaxy is not stagnant and standing still.
Yeah.
Everything's moving in a spiral, the entire thing.
Yeah.
And everything is moving towards a point called the Great Attractor, which is drawing us towards it. And some astrophysicists say one day we won't be here when it happens, everything will get sucked into it. But there are astrophysicists and physicists who are finding a lot of new information about black holes. So
Mm,
sidereal time is the actual movement. Now, at one point in time, that and the tropical zodiac were perfectly lined up, but now they're off from each other.
mm.
The systems that use that calculation have a completely different mythology.
Oh, okay.
Sidereal is using that every planet is masculine, every star is feminine. So remember, I said it's a merger of astronomy and mythology. So it doesn't matter to me, everybody, which system you're using, as long as you're accurate and you can
Mm,
tell me the mythological stories and the why. Because I've studied both. I've studied Jyotisha, which we in the West call Vedic astrology. And that's where the story of the three sisters that I gave you, Yoga, Ayurveda, and Jyotisha, is from. They are the daughters of the Vedas, which are the books of science, the books of knowledge, the books of that's if you get this, this is all you need to be a really good human being. And then we have tropical, which is based on the equinoxes and the solstices. We all live on the planet. So the
yeah.
measurement of time, well, we can definitely tell when there's an equinox. All you have to do is stand an egg on its pointy end and it will stand up. Did you ever do that experiment?
No, I don't think I've ever done that experiment, but
What?
that's
What kind
interesting.
of elementary school teachers? What? Hey, elementary school teachers, on the equinox, bring some eggs, and when it's equinox time, have stand it on its pointy end, and it will
Yeah.
stand up perfectly.
Wow.
Do it with your
I didn't know
children.
that. Yeah, I may have to do that because I've never done that.
So I started off with tropical astrology, the canopy of constellations that were chosen out of the Milky Way to
Hmm.
denote certain things. And yes, there's others in there. We'll go there. Don't ask me about that yet. I can feel it. And so we picked 12 signs, right?
Mm,
We picked 12 constellations. And the argument of these Jyotishas is, well, that's incorrect calculation. Well,
mm,
but we're considering solstices and equinoxes and that we live on the earth. Then,
mm,
okay, so and that matches up with the Greco-Roman mythology, and then we have a whole personality shift. Not every planet is masculine, right?
mm.
Some of the Venus is not masculine in tropical astrology. Venus is
Yeah.
masculine in Vedic astrology. Think about it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Totally different personalities, some similar qualities. And the thing is, if you can read both systems, you can prove the same point, but you might take a slightly different path up the mountain to see the light from the top.
Yeah.
So again, it doesn't matter to me which system you're using. I'm not going to have that debate or argument with anyone because I can explain it both ways and I can prove to you I can do that. Now, we also have all these other astrological systems. There's a traditional Asian version from China, but it's a little morphed and a little different in Japan and different in Korea and different. So, and then we have
Mm.
Mayan astrology, and we have Native American astrology and other indigenous astrologies like in Africa and in Australia. So, what, you're going to argue them? That what they
Yeah.
were looking at and carving with great focus and a lot of patience into stone to tell us about it. You're going to tell me they don't know what they're talking about? You know, seriously, because there are places. I used to be a musician in Arizona. I've done lots of things, everybody. I taught holistic health for 21 years at the university level. And our astrology system, the tropical system, is one of the early bases for a lot of the diagnosis and information about organs in the human body because each of
Mm.
these planets and signs, they rule different areas of the body.
Yeah.
Doctors, how many of you can tell me the myths of of these? How many of you can tell me the story of Hippocrates and you took the Hippocratic Oath? Really? So this mythology's, a big part of it. Then I got the degree. I studied from all the way. I still read and learn more because I believe that when you stop learning, you stop living. And then I studied Jyotisha, the Vedic astrology, solid, really intensely for 10 years. And then I met a teacher from Germany who used the theories and the mythology of this Eastern style, but he used tropical timing and said that was the most accurate. That's when I developed
Mm.
my attitude that it doesn't matter to me what you're using as long as you can explain it, back it up, and make sense of it for me.
So each one is not the true accurate system. It's just how you
It's
use
which
it. At
one
the-
you make sense of.
Yeah.
So let's talk about houses. May I jump to that, Ashley?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Ashley had asked me about houses. She had told me when we first met, I really want to understand more about this. And so the way to think of it is back before there was a house system because there were sundials, but at night you couldn't track the hours. So say a baby was born during a new moon time with a dark sky, you're going to have someone sitting there counting to get you to sunrise to figure out what
Yeah.
time. No. So things were mapped out in a linear fashion. And then the house system started. It started more as a square, and then it became a wheel with wedges, 12 wedges. The best way to think of a house system, and the only way to calculate a chart this way, is we need your date of birth with the month, the date, the number day, and the year. We need your time of birth, and the more accurate, the better, because the software can calculate to the second. And timing is super important because there are 360 degrees in a circle. And if we divide it by 12, there are 30 degrees in each segment.
Mm.
So each sign has 30 degrees that it is responsible for in a given chart. And then we need the location because if we want to know your rising sign, the ascendant, we need these three things accurately. And then the calculation begins, and then we can see what the cusps are. Think of the cusps as the doorways into each house. So each house has a doorway or a door person letting you into the house. And then there may be some planets in there, but there will be sign energy. There will be a sign that is on the cusp of that house. So let's just talk about the first house because that's the ascendant. And the first house is how people see us and how one of my teachers used to say, how we shower and show up. So our nature and the habits that are, don't ask me to change this about my personality. This is who I am. Let's say the sun is in the first house, and the sun represents, some people say spirit or soul, some say ego. And the Eastern thought is the ego isn't who we are, it's part of the mind. I'm telling you, you see how you have to be able to back up and see things.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's your spirit, that spirit that drives you. And if you like the word soul, just translate to that word. because I only see one soul and we're all fragments of it. We're all connected.
Hmm.
So we've got the sun in the first house, and let's say it's the sign that is naturally the guardian of that first house, Aries. So let's say the sun is at 0 point Aries sitting on the ascendant. That is the first day of spring in tropical astrology. So
Wow.
now we have a clock we set up. Then there's different house systems. You could say whole signs. So you could calculate all of this, get a single cusp number. Every cusp then is assigned that number,
Hmm.
and the planets are placed in different houses. We could say the sun is on the ascendant. This is often used if a person doesn't know their time of birth. If you don't know your date of birth, then you're playing a guessing game. Are there ways that an astrologer could calculate this? Yes, but you'd have to give date, time, and location of 12 very important things that happened in your life to do this form of rectification. So if somebody doesn't have date, time, and location, I say, I apologize. I don't do rectification. I used to. It took weeks and a very difficult software program. And if
Mm.
they didn't, I still didn't feel comfortable with it,
Yeah.
even though I was calculating it. So I feel sad if somebody's really interested in this. I mean, there are things we can do, but if you don't know your date of birth, then, and maybe the sun was moving signs and the moon was moving signs right around those
Hmm.
3 days, it's kind of tough.
Yeah, like if you were adopted and you never knew what
Oh,
day,
yeah,
time you were born, or where you were born, like that would be kind of sad. Like you
that
can't
cancels
really
that out.
get insight about yourself with astrology.
Hmm.
You know, that's tough.
I know. Little moment of compassion that we have.
I have a next question. Most important components of the natal chart that beginners can focus on first. So like
So the
you
first
have no
thing
clue.
is, okay, so we're going to assume you know your date, your time, and your location.
Mm-hmm.
Then I want you to learn the nature of each house, the
Mm-hmm.
nature of each planet, the nature of each sign, what's called a flat chart, the planet in a sign in a house, and assign them to all of them. So this is it's all in the blog and my free course, everybody. Just go start to learn the basics and
Yeah.
and come to me for a session because my favorite way to teach you is let's start with your chart. When you go to school or some classes that people teach, sometimes they're just teaching flat charts and you get through 12 sessions and you're so frustrated because you just wanted to learn about you.
Yeah.
So that's what I do with clients.
I had people tell me like you need to learn the big three, which is the sun, moon, and rising.
Hmm.
That's what everybody's been telling me to start off with, as far as like,
Maybe.
because sometimes it
I,
can be overwhelming when you're learning
But
like
yeah, but
every
Ashley,
small thing.
if you don't understand the nature of the planets and the signs and the houses, what's the point? Because
Yeah,
the
it's true.
first house I just told you about earlier, I told you that it's how you shower and show up.
Yeah.
So we have to start with some keywords. There are some, very beginner books, and you can write me on my website, send me a message, make an appointment, or read the blog because there are some great books. And on my link tree, also, you can find some of my favorite books. So, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, I want everybody to understand this. So
Yeah.
then I'd say start with your sun. Now, there is this other frustration because if you're born on a cusp, meaning the changeover from sign to sign, and you're reading horoscopes in a magazine or a newspaper,
Yeah.
and then you're like, well, am I an Aries or a Taurus? Am I a Libra or a Scorpio? Well, because there are different agreed upon, from this to this, or it could be several dates and then you don't know. Go to an astrologer who really knows how to cast a chart.
Yeah, because I know somebody who was born on June 20th, and I think Cancer and Gemini are like at the cusp, like June 21st or
Come to
June
me. I
20th.
will I will make your chart for you. I will
Yeah, I'm
if you
like,
only want your chart. But then when you go online and you use some of the free generators, it's going to default to Placidus house
yeah.
system. And I don't use that. I use Coke, which is spelled Koch, Coke. Coke uses the broader latitude.
Hmm.
Placidus doesn't.
Yeah.
Careful, careful. Just saying.
Yes. Yeah. So like and then like learning the planets. I mean, it's a lot.
Learn the
Like I
glyphs.
know
I think
learning
I
the
think
planets, I always forget like
well, the
what
first
they
thing
all
is
do.
learn the glyphs.
Yeah.
So take a sheet in your journal, have a journal dedicated to astrology study, get different color pens so you can color code. So Mars is red, Saturn is deep blue, Uranus, which is, I don't like saying it in English, Uranus, not pretty.
Uranus.
Uranus, that's Greek. It means the sky god. You know,
Oh wow,
learn
it
some
sounds
of the
better now
language.
that you said that.
So much better. And his color is purple, or electric blue, your choice.
Yeah.
But color code it, learn the glyphs, learn the meaning of the glyphs, and practice glyph, 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 just writing it and saying it out loud. This is, just Mars as you draw the glyph, Aries as you draw the glyph. The houses are going to be easy. Those are numbers 1 through 12. No problem. You got those already. And when I
Hmm.
give charts to my first time clients, I make a chart that has all of the areas showing you all of the glyphs for the planets, the glyphs for the signs, the glyphs for all the points I use, because remember, I use some of the asteroids and I also use some Arabic points, which are mathematical calculations. Add this to this, subtract this. They're very interesting, but that's what the part of fortune is. You might have seen
Mm.
that show up. And why wouldn't you want that in your chart? Of course, you want the part of fortune.
Yeah. Everybody knows about the sun sign because that's what everybody has been taught. But why are the moon and the rising signs so significant for everybody?
I'm going to give you a little insider info. I used to write horoscopes for newspapers and magazines, and there's a formula. So, what we do is we look at the chart. Say I'm writing horoscopes for this month. So, I will look at where all of these planets are, particularly the sun. So, let's pick 1 week because it'll get a little hairy canary if we try on a timeline. So let's say I'm writing a week horoscope or a daily, and I'll look at the chart for the day where I'm at the newspaper I'm working for or the magazine. So I'll set it to that city. And I might set it for 12 a.m. I might set it for 12 noon, but I'll make a chart. And then
Yeah.
I'll look at that, and that will give me cusps. And I'll set it at whole signs. So all 30 degrees of each sign is in one house at a time.
Hmm.
Let's go back to the sun is in Aries in the first house. Doesn't hurt to go back and learn a little bit more about
Hmm.
this. So, sun's in Aries, it's spring just happened, it's in the first house. Aries is going to be very bold. It's the first house. It's feeling very strong and who he feels like or she feels like or they feel like they are right now. But let's say the moon is in the sign of Cancer. And so that's a little more dramatic. So to Aries, that's going to create a particular angle. And we're going to call the first house, because the sun's in the first house. So then we're going to go, the sun's in one, and we're looking for the moon in the fourth house. So to Aries, the moon is in the fourth house. But to Taurus, the moon is in the third house. To
Mm.
Gemini, the moon is in the second house. To Cancer, the moon's in your house. That's how
Yeah.
horoscopes are written. So they're just taking the dial and saying, okay, Aries was on the ascendant for Aries, but now we're going to dial it, and now Taurus is on the ascendant. And now Taurus's house becomes the first house. We're pretending the house is where the sun is.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not transiting your sign that way. It's only tweaking it. And that's why when you read your horoscope, you're like, that doesn't make any sense. But if you read, now I have Aquarius rising, which happens to be one of the most strong and believed to be signs on the ascendant for an astrologer.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not, your choice.
Yeah.
But, here I am.
And
So
you're an astrologer, so it matches,
and
right?
you did ask me my big three, so now I'm giving it to you. So
Okay.
my rising sign is 20 degrees and change. Let me just explain change. Those are minutes. So I'm almost Pisces rising because there's only 30 degrees in each sign.
Mhm.
So I'm 29 degrees and minutes. I'm not going to start giving you minutes. I don't want to confuse you. So what if instead of reading Scorpio, which is where my sun is, that in the horoscope I read my rising sign because that's how I shower and show up. That's how people encounter me. So
Yeah.
what if I read Aquarius in addition to reading Scorpio? And then my moon is in Virgo. What if I also read the horoscope for Virgo? So if you know your sun, your moon, and your rising, what I want you to try playing with is reading all three: the zodiac sign of your sun, the
Hmm.
sign that your ascendant is, and the sign that your moon is, and then let me know what you learn about it. Comment on this podcast and let us know how that
Yes, do
changed your
comment.
perspective view.
Awesome. Yeah, my sun is Scorpio, my rising is Leo, and my moon is Capricorn.
So you and I have opposite rising signs. So
Yeah.
we're mirrors to each other. And when you
Oh, wow.
invited
Okay.
me to be here, I was super
I know,
excited
right?
because I was looking
It's fate.
for someone to interview me about astrology, and you were looking for a brainiac astrologer nerd like me.
Yes. And here we are. We're
Here we
doing this
are.
podcast about astrology and it
And you're
works. So,
reflecting your beautiful Leo energy, and I'm reflecting the knowledge of astrology through my Aquarian rising sign.
yes.
See
Wow.
that? Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Yeah. So, next segment, the synastry chart. So, can you tell us the difference between synastry chart and natal chart so everybody
Yes,
can
of
understand
course.
like what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's easy. A synastry chart is the comparison of two charts. Boom.
I know, right? When I say synastry chart, everybody's like, "What? What is that?"
Well, come on, Ashley. You've got to let people learn one chart first
I
before
know,
you
right?
start layering another chart or several. Like, for instance, I have many specialties with astrology. My passion is relationship astrology, two charts in comparison,
Yeah.
synastry, right? And but what if a family of say a blended family comes to me, two adults. This is going to be a traditional type family, a mother and a father. They each have three kids. Yes, I know I just built Brady Bunch, but go with it. So
Mhm.
we've got eight people and they want to move to a different country together
Yeah.
because originally one set is from one country and the other is from a different one. So then I have to look at all eight charts and the astrolocality, which is also known as astrocartography, and cross compare all of them to figure out where everybody can live and thrive.
I think I've done one before. I just don't remember where it said that I would thrive at. I forgot, but
Well, it depends.
yeah,
You
I've
know,
heard about
again,
that.
we're dealing with a computer who is trying to calculate for us.
Yeah.
And there are nuances. Is the computer only looking at certain types of lines? Is it using local space and the major lines? Which zodiac is it using? So, which house system did you start with? Are you considering the houses when you're looking at the planets and the signs?
Mm,
So we have to realize that astrology can't be cookbooked,
yeah.
but you have to start somewhere. And there's a saying in India, if you know what a sitar is, it's not an easy instrument. You have to actually loosen and tighten the frets so they're movable frets, not like a guitar or a bass, not like a fretless bass because they actually have them. And they
Mm-hmm.
say it takes 3 lifetimes to be a sitar player,
Hmm.
but it takes 9 lifetimes to be an astrologer. Doesn't mean you haven't had enough lifetimes. Each time we're born into a new lifetime, we're bringing in some of that knowledge if we're having the opportunity to have teachers and things trigger the seeds of karma so that we can sprout them and learn and get into the knowledge again and again.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, can you explain about like the harmonious aspects and like the challenging aspects and
Okay, so now you're
stuff
talking
like
about
that?
mathematical angles.
Yeah.
I hope everybody didn't fall asleep or not like geometry. So let's just do the easy version.
Okay.
That a trine is an equilateral triangle. Do you
Mm.
remember, Ashley, how many degrees each angle of an equilateral triangle is?
I don't remember, but what is it?
60 degrees.
Okay, 60 degrees. I remember the 30 degrees for each like zodiac sign or
Right,
whatever,
good for
but
you. Well, you see, I'm planting good seeds. They're sticking, they're
they're
taking root.
sticking. There, some of it's sticking. So,
But let's not worry about the degrees of everything, okay? Let's just talk
okay.
about the shape
Okay.
because so a trine is a triangle
Mm-hmm.
and that's flowing. So if something's trying to something else in a synastry chart or a transit chart, because a transit chart is your chart or a chart with what's going on now around it. It's a form of synastry. So
Yeah.
transits are a form of synastry. Uh, and then there's a sextile. All right, I'm giving you angles. It's 30 degrees. Those are also pretty nice. Then
Mm.
there's a square.
Oh, I hate the squares.
No,
I
don't you
cringe every time
can't
I see a
don't be
square.
a hater, Ashley. Squares are necessary chaos. Squares shake things up.
Yeah,
S-
they do.
Squares are 90 degrees. A T square, now that's another story. That's a couple squares connected to each other. That can
Uh,
make kind of a rough spot. And when we're looking at these shapes in our chart, we want to see where the points are, which planets or points or houses. Start with just which houses are they in, because that's
mm.
the best place to begin. And then we've got conjunctions. That's like a new moon, things appearing to be together. We know that Mars and Saturn are not right next to each other, but they could be aligned and seem to
Yeah.
be. So they could be conjoined in a chart. Let's just pretend one chart. What if Mars and Venus are together? That person's always going to be chasing love and desire and attraction, and because Mars is drive, desire, arr, it's that kind of power if he's in a sign that gives him that power.
Yeah.
What if Mars is stuck under a wet blanket?
Yeah.
And Venus is what we're attracting, and she doesn't want to make a commitment.
Mm.
Venus had many partners in mythology, and Cupid is her illegitimate child. That's why I named my book Cupid is a Bastard. It's not to be nasty.
I just heard that like with synastry, like you got to look at the moon to moon and like the
That's
moon
a
to Venus.
version. That's a version.
Yeah.
But then also let's look at it this way. If we're say I know you, you're my client, I know you inside out. You met another person that you're really interested in. You're calling them your POI, your person of interest,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to know, is this the one for me? Here's a secret. There's no such thing as the one.
There's no such thing as the one or a soulmate.
No, we're one soul. Everybody's one soul. We're all connected. Every relationship is a classroom filled with lessons. The question is not, is this the one for me? Is this the one I want to learn and grow with?
I've been lied to. I just always thought there's that one person that's meant for you.
You can believe that, but I've seen two charts that have such beautiful synastry. Some of the most jaw-dropping synastry I've ever seen. And 30 years later, after being married, one wakes up and says to the other, I don't want to do this anymore. And they split
Oh,
apart. What happened to that perfect synastry? They
that's
built
pretty sad.
business together. They had family. They built a beautiful house from the ground up. And then one day, one of them said, no more. I'm done. And that's transits.
Your marital partner is supposed to be. So is
Okay,
that true?
so we want egos to be compatible. So we want to see that. We want moons to be happy. We want Venus and
Yeah.
Mars to be happy. We want to know if finance and security is really important. What's going on in their 10th house? What's going on with Saturn? What's going on? Where's Capricorn? The seventh house, contractual agreements. We could call it the House of Marriages because marriage is a signed document, it's a legal document.
Yeah.
But what about the fifth house of lovers and creativity?
Yeah.
What about the sixth house of the everyday, of the service we do to the world, of the pets that we have? What about if one person doesn't really want kids and the other one really, really does? So we want to look at the houses that could represent first child, second child, third child.
Oh wow. Yeah, I
What
didn't even
about
think
what
about that.
about the way they communicate, the third house? So many
Ooh, that's
people
a big one.
complain. So many people complain. Why can't I get this person to talk to me? What about if they're just stagnant and they don't grow and they're stuck in habits? What's going on in that third house? What's going on in the ninth house? What about spirituality, ninth house? What if one person is a homebody with Capricorn in the fourth house, doesn't want to budge, lives in the house they inherited from their family, who inherited it from their family, but you love them and you're attracted to them and you got great romance going on, but you want to travel. You might want to live in a foreign country and Airbnb it for a while. That's the ninth house.
Yeah, I never really thought about that,
You
and that is so
can't
true.
just play, let's just line up a couple of these blocks. You
Wow.
can start there and you might get lucky, but
Yeah.
what if this person, now let's little bit of astrolocality. Say you grew up in the same place, you don't have a passport, you've never traveled out of the country. Let's say you're landlocked in Tennessee. Okay. Tennessee is beautiful. I've been there. I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah.
And then you meet somebody who's from Sweden and they
Ooh.
happen to be born in Sweden and you fall in love in Tennessee and you have a couple great years and then something's going on with their family and they really need to move to Sweden and you've never even had a passport. Then what's going to happen to the synastry then? So do you see how, local travel, third house, foreign travel, ninth house, career, 10th house, groups and organizations, the groups and habits that you form, the 11th house. What if you are perfectly happy being alone, being by yourself, writing books like me, and you don't need to be out there in huge crowds of festivals? But what if your partner, even though you have a lot of symbiotic synastry in feelings, what if they need to go ride a motorcycle and go to festivals and go camping, and the last thing you want are bugs? Could you still have a great relationship? Yeah, you could. Then you just have to learn how to agree to disagree. Maybe that
Yeah.
partner goes camping on their own with their friends. Maybe you don't leave the homestead. Maybe you
Hmm.
do get encouraged to get a passport or say, I'll go camping, but it's glamping. So this is
Glamping.
relationships.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, well, I've done both, and at this point, I would gladly say hi to glamping, but and yes, but do I want to sleep on the ground and get rolled out of a tarp in a rainstorm down a mountain anymore? Even though I've done it, nope, I'm not. I don't want to
Oh
set myself
gosh.
up for that.
So you're saying it doesn't matter if there's squares, oppositions,
There's
or
always going to be.
conjunctions.
There's always going to be.
There's always
Remember
gonna.
what?
Oh, okay.
There's no such thing as two perfect charts. Let me
I've
say that
always thought it
again.
had to be a perfect chart.
There's
Like it had
no
to be
there's
for
no
you.
such
You
thing.
gotta have the perfect chart of the partner that you're supposed to be with. That's what I've always
No
thought.
supposed to. Throw it out the window, Miss Ashley. No
Wow, I've
supposed
been
to.
lied to. I've been lied to.
Well, you've been told information from people that didn't understand the art and the science.
Yeah. I
Are
was
there
like, 'cause
charts?
there's some
So,
people I had to throw away in my life because I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is not gonna work, because like things will pop up, like
but yeah,
issues, and then I will look in the chart, the synastry chart, I'm like, no wonder we broke up. Like,
but maybe it was that there were things in the chart that you didn't see because the points weren't there on the screen. I add more in. If you really want me to kick the tires and lift the hood and look at the engine, I'm going to look at 23 points in each chart. You
yeah,
have 23 times 23. That's a lot of possibility there.
yeah,
There's no perfect. So let's say you are an astrologer for matchmakers. You're looking for the best out of the option. One of my friends is a world famous matchmaker.
Oh, wow.
She is very mystical. She has TV shows. You probably heard of her. Her name is Patty Stanger. She definitely has on some of her shows used astrologers and
Mm,
psychologists. And when she's interviewing someone to take them as a client to make a match, and you'll see this in any matchmaker show, and I suggest you watch them because this will give you insight as to why I can justify that there's no two perfect charts. Because if a person comes with 3 pages of list of must-haves and
mm-hmm.
non-negotiables, are they ever going to find that in a person?
Not everything.
You just answered the whole there's no such thing as the one. Miss Ashley, you just did it.
Yeah, that's
You just
true.
stepped in that
Yeah.
big pile of uh-uh.
There's gonna always be something missing or
You have to
something.
you have to
Yeah.
learn to accept, adapt, and accommodate. So
Yeah.
if that emotional state is important, then we want to see that close to perfect. If financial stability is important, we're looking at that. If romance is important, you might love it, but you might end up living in a shack or a tarp in the middle of the woods rolling down the mountain in a rainstorm.
That is a different, yeah. Wow.
Let's just have a moment on that, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've always heard looking at the seventh house and then look at the moon to moon. Like
Okay,
me and my
so
husband,
let's
we
just
both
stop
have
there with
Capricorn.
seventh house, seventh house.
Hmm.
Okay, go ahead. You and your husband both have Capricorn in the seventh house
Yeah, and I've
as the
always been
cusp.
told that like if both of your moons are the same, it makes it harmonious
Boy,
for
that's a really flat statement. That's like saying these shoes are going to fit you perfectly. And you put them on and you walk around on the carpet and they're comfy and you go walk on the sidewalk and get blisters.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So yes, we can if I'm playing pop astrology or I'm being asked rapidly, look at this chart, is this person, I'm going to say destined? No, I'm not going to say destined. Does this person have the potential to get married? And let's say I see Saturn in retrograde there and I see it at a lower degree. And don't use this as a formula, people. This is an example, it's a metaphor, okay?
Hmm.
Let's say Saturn's at 3 degrees in the seventh house, and let's say Mars is at 24 degrees, and they're both in Capricorn, right?
Hmm.
Saturn likes Capricorn. That's his sign. He
Yeah.
rules it, right? But he's retrograde. It's going to take till later in life until that planet. So we've got two planets and nothing else in the seventh house. A novice could say, oh, you'll probably get married twice. And because Saturn's in retrograde, that first one will be a divorce. Maybe not.
Ooh, okay.
Saturn represents time. That could be the end of someone. Or it could
Yeah.
mean they take off and change. Or it could mean that one just has failure to launch.
Mm.
And then Mars and Capricorn, ooh, that's like saying, Mars, we want you to run a race, but there's a wall that you can't get over. So Mars will say, well, I'll use my Aries aspect, put my head down and bash through it. But that might not be the right timing.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
see, we can't, yeah, that's cookbooking. That's what I call
Yeah.
cookbooking. You want to be an
Wow.
artist, you want to be a meditator, you want to stop and contemplate before you make a bold statement. The more experience you have, the faster you can make a bold statement, but use words with other people. And this is for the astrology that told Ashley this. I want you to use words like potential. Don't make it
Mm.
seem like definite because that's not your business. You just took on that person's karma.
Yeah.
You are here to support them in the best way to help them make decisions for themselves. Don't
Yeah.
make blanket statements as an astrologer. It doesn't work that way.
So you know how like the synastry chart, like it scores all of your aspects or whatever.
What program are we using?
Okay, so I use the Cafe Astrology.
I don't even know that program.
Oh, okay. Well, I used it and it has like a score. Like there's
Isn't
like
that
the
cute?
tables. Yeah, and like on the lower right it has like the actual score.
Okay, it's
And
like
I guess
all
the
right.
higher the score, the better your
So
relationship,
let's say
possibly.
we're walking into the casino of astrology. You just walked over to a slot machine and got some info from it. I want you to go play baccarat, where the stakes are
What?
putting down several $1,000s for your first bet, not a nickel.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah. That is it cute? Yes. Do people like it? Yes. Does it make perfect sense? Absolutely not. Would I gain some of the same information from looking at the synastry? Yes. Would I throw horseshoes at that prognosis? Absolutely.
So
Because
you do
there's no
believe
such,
that people
actually,
can be incompatible, right?
there's
I
no
mean, if
such
you look
thing
at their
as
charts,
perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. If
yeah.
what that is doing is saying black and white, good and bad, positive, negative. And what I'm saying is it's a rheostat. It's giving you a number. What's the scale? Is it going 0 to 100, 0 to 1,000, 0 to 50? What's the
I
scale?
really didn't pay attention to the scale. It just gave you like a result of like this can be a very harmonious
You,
like
how
it'll
many
tell you
digits? 2 digits, 3 digits, 4 digits? How many
like
digits?
okay, like with me and my husband it was like over 1200 or something like that.
Okay, so it's giving 4 digits
Mm-hmm.
because 1,200 is four
And
digits.
I've done one of my exes and it said
Oh, that was a
500.
combined score. That was a combined score.
I guess it puts your chart together with your whoever you're with and it calculates all the sextile, like all the aspects together. So like obviously if you have a lot more hard aspects, it'll deduct from the actual like
Okay, so that's
numbers.
cafe, and I want you to go dine at the palace of astrology, not at the cafe.
Okay, okay,
It
okay.
gives you stuff, and some of the stuff is fun, and Ashley made a life decision using it. And that's cool because it's working out. But then there's timing. You know, where the moon is when you were born starts a progression of a set amount of years per each planet, and then it comes in contact with other planets. And this is from Jyotisha. This is Vedic astrology, and this is some
Mm-hmm.
potent stuff. It's called Mahadashas. And not everybody goes through all of it because we don't live almost 300 years.
Yeah.
So there'll be differentiations. So say you both meet when you're in the Venus Mahadasha or the subdominant, the Antardasha is Venus to something else,
Mm,
then that's a good lockup time. But what about if I layer onto it the progressed moon, which is
mm,
also really important in synastry? Like, say you're a couple, you're set on getting married. You show me a prenuptial agreement because I'm a minister and I ask for these if I'm conducting a ceremony. You
mm-hmm.
want me to analyze your two charts. Perfect. And now you want me to pick a date that's going to be the best date to get married. Well, you might not realize this, people, but there's more than one date involved in a marriage. There's the date you go to City Hall and sign and get the papers. There's the date you have the party. You don't want that to be boring and staunchy, but you want the contract to be signed at a day and time where the finance and health of the finance of the couple is going to be optimal. And you want the party at a time when everybody's going to have a good time, not just good weather if it's
Yeah,
outside.
because I heard that it's bad to get married during Mercury retrograde. Is that true?
It depends. Is Mercury retrograde in somebody's chart? How have they been doing with it? How do they fare
I didn't even
during
think about that when I first got married because
how do
me
they
and my
fare
husband
during
got
a
married in the
Mercury?
courthouse.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So how do they fare during a Mercury retrograde? So there's slightly different timing. You had to go get the papers.
yeah,
In most places in the US, you have to wait 3 days before you can get married. You can't just go get the papers and go see the judge, you know,
we
in
did
Vegas.
everything the same day. Everything.
It depends on the
Fine.
state. It depends.
Yeah, yeah.
Vegas is like that too.
And then we had
Uh,
a wedding ceremony almost a year later after we got
well,
married in
you
the
didn't use an
courthouse.
astrologer to plan it, but you're doing well. Let's not kibosh it. But
Yeah. But I've
the
always worried about that, like did I sign the marriage
oh, okay.
under Mercury retrograde? Like,
Let me explain Mercury retrograde for travel.
okay.
I'll throw in some contract signing too. Oh my God, I have to sign a contract. I have to sell a house and I don't have control because somebody bought it. There's time sensitive stuff. The
Yeah.
realtors are ready to go. We've got a date and meeting planned. This happened to me. I sold a condo And the
Hmm.
signing was during Mercury retrograde. I could have gotten all fussed out over it. But instead, I said, I just want to make sure all this paperwork is square before the meeting. That's it. Everything's fine. Person bought the house. I got the money. I'm in my house that I bought with the money. No problem. Now, if we're
Yeah.
talking about travel, if a Mercury retrograde period is almost the length of a month, it can travel, from 1 month into the next month, but around that. Depends on what sign, because planets move faster at one angle through certain signs because of the ecliptic and the path of planets. That's some astronomy we could talk about another time. So let's say I'm planning a journey. I have no choice. I've got to go speak somewhere and I have to buy a ticket today and Mercury's retrograde. What am I going to do? Say no to the gig? No, but I'm going to be really super careful before I hit buy and purchase that I got the travel insurance and it's the best price I can get. You see what I mean? You just
Oh,
want
okay.
to take
So plan
extra
ahead before you.
before you hit send.
Yeah.
Okay, so if everything is worked out, like say a couple is getting married on Mercury retrograde, but finance and buying a house and all these things are super important to them, then have a prenup, Have a good prenup. Think, back up. That's why I said earlier, we have to back up and be a witness.
Hmm.
So what if I get the ticket, Mercury's not retrograde, but the trip has to be during Mercury retrograde? The way it usually works, usually, I'm not guaranteeing this, but if you take off for your trip and come back from your trip and you're within the Mercury retrograde, usually you're fine and your luggage is fine. But if you leave before the Mercury retrograde and come back during the Mercury retrograde, it might have some delays. Your luggage might get sent to Alaska. Same thing happens if you start the trip in Mercury retrograde and come back outside of the Mercury retrograde. So the rule is with travel, you're cool if you're inside the retrograde, but leaping in and out of it can sometimes cause fuss.
Ah, okay.
But that doesn't mean it's the only time that happens. I had a friend who just traveled up to North Carolina from Florida, where we live. There's no Mercury retrograde right now, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
right now. She was just gone last week for like 5, 6 days. On her way back, luggage went the wrong way,
Uh-oh.
delays. First, there was an airline delay for 24 hours. So, go to the airport, find out we're not taking off, back up. That happened to me once in Peru. That's rougher in Peru than it is in North Carolina.
Wow. Well, could it be because of your planets? Like, Jupiter is the planet of luck, right? So maybe,
No, no,
maybe
no,
her
no, no, no,
Jupiter
no,
was
no.
in the
Jupiter
wrong
is not, no,
planet
no,
of.
no. Jupiter is not luck.
It's not. I
Jupiter,
thought it was a planet of luck and expansion and
cookbooking,
abundance.
you're cookbooking again.
Oh, goodness.
It's the great benefic. Jupiter is the teacher.
Mm.
Jupiter is the spiritual teacher. Can Jupiter bring luck? Yes. Could other things get in the way? Absolutely. So I have Jupiter in Sagittarius, his sign, in the ninth house. Am I always lucky? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I moved to my Jupiter line and I'm living in the area of my Jupiter line. Is it good? I'm working on my seventh book and I'm finally, today, I got the second round of paperwork for my PhD, which I've been working
Wow.
on for 13 years. So I just
Awesome.
got an oath to sign and other assignments, and I'm working on the thesis, which I already started.
Great.
But
Wow.
now I'm getting the gears moving in my Jupiter, my professor.
Yeah.
So Jupiter's
Awesome.
the high esteemed professor. Those aren't always lucky. They can hang you up for a while.
Yeah.
What if something else is going on? What if Pluto is sitting on it? What if it's retrograding? Is it always lucky? No. Can it be
Yeah.
lucky? Yes. Do you see what I mean? We
Yeah.
can't we can't just be so stereotyping. But again, everybody, we have to start somewhere. So it's good that Ashley thought Jupiter's lucky and I feel good about myself. Then me, I'm going to go, well, but what's your spirituality? What's your spiritual practice? How are you nurturing and continuing to ignite the flame and the fire of Jupiter? How are you keeping Jupiter's fire alive? What if Jupiter was retrograde when you were born? Here's a trick. Say Jupiter was at 2 degrees and retrograding when you were born. Add 32 degrees to it at the age of 32, 30 plus 2. Remember, I said 2 degrees and retrograding? Add 30 to it. That's when he begins to have the apparent feel of moving forward to for you. So if you're
Also,
Jupiter,
time can really, shift it to where
hallelujah, you just learned a
you
major,
get the
major
abundance that you've
thing.
been looking for,
Right. So go back
just
and
have to
tell
wait for
Cafe,
it.
if Cafe has a bot, say, well, what about now? What about 10 years from now? But I don't think it
Yeah.
does that. It's giving you cute weights and balances. Lots of
Mm.
programs can do that, but that's just one little magic bean in your pouch.
All right, so you call yourself a mind tamer and a meditation Jedi.
I certainly
Uh,
do.
how does meditation blend with astrology in your
Oh,
work?
I think I've proved it several times over today. If you are looking at a chart and the ego is talking and not the divine essence of the chart, then you're not a meditator. Meditation is the act of backing up from thought. So I might think Jupiter, I'm going to use your example, don't take offense, okay? I might think Jupiter's lucky. Every time I see Jupiter in blah, 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 it's lucky and it's great. I mean, look at my Jupiter. Jupiter in Sagittarius in the ninth house at the top of my chart. Is that lucky enough for y'all? That's, come on. Come on.
I need to figure out where my Jupiter is, but yeah.
We'll talk about it. What if Jupiter's retrograding? And what if Jupiter retrograding in transit is angling at a square to my natal Jupiter?
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Is Jupiter
Yeah.
lucky then? No, Jupiter's learning lessons at that time.
Yeah.
What is life? Here's some altruisms from the mind tamer. There's no such thing as a young soul or an old soul. Everybody here won the lottery. Everybody here had an equanimity, and this is hard. Think about what I'm saying, everybody. Back up and think about people. Do you love everybody? Do you accept everybody? Do you think some people are wrong and some people are more righteous? Or can you look at every single person doing every single act that they're doing right now and say they are equanimous? That's a tough
Yeah.
one. And then realize that everybody got born into a certain house with a certain amount of stuff representing their first house, how they shower and show up, right?
Hmm.
But then they had to start making choices. And
And what if choices, it changes everything, right?
every choice. But then what if we
Yeah.
back up from that and I tell you every thought forms reality? So
Oh, yeah.
actually, you think I'm lucky, I'm lucky, I'm lucky because my Jupiter's good. I don't want to mess that up.
Yeah.
But if you want to be an astrologer, I have to say, Ashley, remove yourself from the attachment of that. Practice meditation so that you can really tell the difference between ego chatter and the mind feeding you information and
Hmm.
what the true divine omnipresence is saying to you. So I see us as all connected to everything. I'm going to use the G word of God. I believe in God. It may not be your religion, but I don't prescribe to a religion.
Yeah.
I embrace all religion. So when I say God, I'm talking about the everything. I'm talking about the spirit in a rock and a tree and a fish and an ant and a cockroach and a warrior and a priestess. Okay? All connected. But what happens in society, if we look at the story of the Tower of Babel, first of all,
Hmm.
language got fragmented and then people didn't understand each other.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then they wanted stuff that the other one had. And instead of asking politely because they couldn't be understood or understand the other person, they started doing things that weren't so savory.
Mm.
Is that okay? My belief is that we are here for one purpose, and that is love. And
Yeah.
the only way to be able to love everything is to accept, adapt, and accommodate, and to realize that we can love the pretty and the nice and the comfortable, but what about the ugly, the painful, and the hurtful? We have to love
Yeah.
it all. Then, as a meditator, meditating since the age of 6, I've had a little bit of practice of being able to shut the mind up and stop the chatter because everybody has it.
I'm really bad at it. My mind keeps going and So can astrology like improve stress and sleep and health, like based
No,
on,
no, that who told you that? What did they say? I want to hear this one.
I mean, like I'm talking about
No,
like just
as
knowing the insight of your birth
oh,
chart
maybe,
and
maybe,
your
but I'm not going.
astrology and
Mm,
understanding like,
no, if anything, once you start diving into it deeper, you it will definitely cause more chaos.
yeah. So like do you think astrology helps with like anxiety and insomnia too? Do you
You're
think?
looking for black and white answers from me, Ashley, and I'm never going to give them. If it makes you happy, I'm happy. If knowing something, what it does is it chinks away at the mountain. It gives you a few steps up the mountain of who am I? What am I here for? And what's my service to the world? That's what
Yeah,
helps to give you peace. But if you're using it for ego boosting,
it ain't gonna work for you.
you'll fall down. Putting yourself
Yeah.
on a pedestal, the only way is falling off.
Yeah. Wow. So,
It's
do you think
knowledge.
do you think the birth chart or the natal chart help you heal and transform yourself?
Absolutely, it could help. It could be very medicinal because there is a sound tattooed on your fragmented piece of soul that has to do with the moment and place and time that where the moon was when you were born.
Mm-hmm.
That many cultures will use that calculation to determine the first sound of a person's name, the mantra that they use for meditation. That's how the TM organization chooses a mantra for you. So yes, astrology is helpful, but it's medicine. It's not the end of the road.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
tonic. I'm going to say tonic, not medicine. Cancel
Yeah.
that.
Can you recommend a simple daily ritual that combines astrology and mindfulness?
Sure. Understand that there are planetary hours. So just like your chart is a frozen clock, the clock
Mm-hmm.
keeps ticking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to sing or chant or meditate or focus on a planet because the planet's weak or asleep or dead or needs more energy in your chart, because planets can be unborn, they can be gestating, they can be born, they can be children, they can be adolescent, they can be adults, they can be elderly, and they can be dead. So
Wow.
your planet in your chart might look groovy, but it might be a baby.
Yeah.
So let's say you want more luck, like our friend Ashley really likes Jupiter. So you could wear a yellow sapphire. I've got one on each index finger.
Oh, you
And
talking about the gemstone yellow sapphire? Is that what you're
I
saying?
I am. There are gemstones associated, but let's back up from this. Let's just say day of the week, because
Mm.
each day of our week is named for a planet. So I have playlists on my Spotify for each day of the week. So in the morning, my morning ritual is this time of year when it's hot in Florida, get up before the sun rises and walk. So the first half hour of my walk is silent. Just
Mm.
and if I get up before the sun rises and it's still dark, because sometimes I do, but I at least try to get out there a half hour before it rises so I'm not cooking. And I listen to the birds wake up. I watch the bunnies. And today that we're recording is Sunday. So which planet rules today?
The sun? I
Yes, of
mean,
course.
okay.
Yes, of course.
I mean, technically the sun is not a planet, but
But in astrology, we treat it as such because we're
yeah.
heliocentric. We treat the sun as a planet because we're on the earth. So we're saying the earth is still, but the sun moves around us. We know it
Yeah.
doesn't happen that way. So the sun rules Sunday. What about Monday? Which of the planets rules Monday?
I'm just
Moon
guessing.
day. Moon day.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I love these ahas. They're so cute. So then let's see. Do you speak any Latin languages besides English?
No.
So I'll give you a hint in another language for Tuesday because it's confusing using English. Martes. Which planet?
I'm gonna
Mars.
guess Mars.
Yes, Tuesday is
Okay,
Mars.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so we got Sunday is the sun, Monday is the moon, Tuesday is Mars. Wednesday is going to be tricky because Wednesday Adams isn't going to help us. So, miércoles, which planet might that be?
Mercury?
Yes, you got
Oh,
it.
okay. I was trying to think. I was like, yeah,
Okay, now you might know some Greek mythology. Thursday is Thor's Day. What's Thor the other name for? Which big planet that you love? Hint, hint.
Jupiter.
Yes, Thor's Day is Jupiter's day. Friday, so we've just used a bunch and we're only using seven, right?
Yeah.
Friday, Freya's day. Do you know who Freya is? She's young, she's nubial. She likes to attract things.
So Friday would be
Yes,
Venus.
yes, you've
Okay,
got it,
okay.
you've got it, you've got it. See, if I let you find it, then you've got it. If I feed it to you, phew, we'll have to feed you so many times. Saturday.
Saturn.
Yes, and we're back to
Okay.
Sunday. You did it.
Yeah.
Way to
Yay.
go, Ashley. So, after you listen to this podcast, I want you to go get your brand new astrology journal and write that down and learn the glyphs for those planets.
Mm,
And you'll start grounding it in.
yeah. Yeah, that was a really good learning tool right there. Like
That was a great lesson,
doing
wasn't
that.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then there are planetary hours. We have 24 hours in a day. We have 12 houses in a chart. If we divide 24 by 2, we get 12. 2 hours of each day is relating to one of those houses. A planet rules one of those houses. There's different ways to calculate this. If we're going back to the sidereal time and we're using that system, which is not tropical, but you can find apps that will play mantras for each of the, I'm going to say deity of each planet for the hours. And they won't always start right on the hour.
Hmm.
But this is how we choose when to have a ritual. You know, we might want to have a Jupiter ritual on Thursday, right? On Thursday.
Hmm.
But would it be better at the hour for that planet? So I start each day with a chant that is for all the planets. And then my playlist actually starts with a chant for Ganesha, because if you don't chant for Ganesha first, forget it. So even before I'll listen to music, I go through a series of chants myself
Okay. Wow.
and greet the day. So I'm out for a walk for quiet for the first half hour. On the way back, I chant to Ganesha, then I chant for peace on the planet. Then I welcome the big three, not the astrological big three, but some cosmic three, and then a series of more chants for different aspects, for peace, for love, for understanding. Then I listen or chant along with my playlist of the day. So today was
Uh,
Sunday, so I was listening to Surya, which is the sun.
yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah, that's something I need to research on, like mantras and
Read the article at my blog about the power of the sound of your voice.
hmm.
That's a really good starting point. And then I can teach you more. If you have a group of people that want to learn, somebody write me a message on my website and request it, and absolutely teach whatever I've talked about to those of you who want to, either one-on-one in small group, or and I will happily meet you on Zoom to do it.
Yeah, great. What's your favorite zodiac season?
Well, okay, let's talk about the word season. That is an untruth. There are seasons on the earth. Yeah, somebody, look, people make stuff up. They take information and they rebrand it and they make stuff up.
I
You,
always say it. I don't know why. I guess because like
what does it
every,
mean?
maybe it's a
Define
millennial thing. I don't
what's your,
know.
okay, let's do it this way, Ashley. What's your favorite zodiac season?
I mean, my season, Scorpio season is lit to me.
Okay, so you're a Scorpio by sun.
Yeah,
When does Scorpio season start?
I think it's October 20th,
That's
November.
when the sun is in the sign of Scorpio. But what about the new moon in Scorpio?
Oh,
That's the
see where you
start
get.
of what
Yeah.
somebody coined season.
Okay.
All right. So what if Scorpio new moon isn't exactly at the time of the sun? on your birthday. Do you get what I'm saying? Scorpio,
Yeah, I see what
see,
you're saying.
don't give me this stuff if you don't understand astronomy,
The reason why I
right?
say Scorpio season is not because my birthday, it's because like I don't know, it seems like I get
I'm a
more attraction
Scorpio.
from people.
All right, I'm a Scorpio. So I think Scorpios really love that time of year because our birthdays were then, and the leaves, if we're in a place where leaves turn color, it's vibrant, it's beautiful. And we can start wearing sweaters again if we're in a hotter place or a seasonal change place. Yeah,
Yeah.
people here in Florida wear sweaters.
And it's a cozy
I even made
season.
one. It's
So it,
cozy,
it
right?
brings love. Yeah.
But you mentioned you get lucky, people are attracted to you. Guess what? March does that for me.
Oh, wow.
I know. So you see, okay, then we need to kind of analyze the two charts and look at seasons. And I just made air quotes for those of you listening, and really start to ask ourselves, that's not a full matchup because I just
Yeah.
proved that theorem wrong. I will take any pitch you have and I will hit it out of the park, my
You're
dear.
just hitting every single one of those things
But this
I've
is
mentioned. I'm
good
like, oh my
because
gosh, I've been wrong this whole entire time.
no, not wrong. You have been in the dark and I'm flipping the light on.
Yes, yes, you're flipping the
You've been in
light,
the right
definitely.
room, you've been in the right playing field, but the stadium lights weren't flipped on.
Yeah.
You've been feeling around in the dark. You've been getting a few yards on the if it's a football game. Do you know what I mean?
I was just thinking my Scorpio energy was just attracting people or something. I
Maybe it
don't
is,
know.
maybe it isn't. We'd have to
Yeah.
analyze it. What I want
Yeah.
you to do is if you're trying, remember what I talked about regarding rectification of a chart? Give me 12 day, time, and locations and the incident, and
Yeah.
then we'll start creating a theorem. But if you lucked out and answered something right on your geometry exam and you didn't show your work or justify, and I don't care about your spelling, but if you can't back it up, remember what I said at the early onset of this show? Is I don't care what system you're using as long as you can prove it and it makes sense and it's working.
Yeah. It just seems like a lot of good things happen like during that
I'm
season.
happy for you.
Like
I'm not gonna say
I don't
it
know why.
doesn't.
Like I for some reason I'll find a guy that I really like during that season or like I got pregnant during that season or just like something
Well,
miraculous,
then
you
we need
know.
to look at the transits of that season, the daytime and locations of the incidences, and then after
Yeah.
analysis, I can give you the theorem explanation.
Yeah. I was
It
like,
could
man,
be the angle of the sun to your natal sun. It
yeah.
could, but it probably isn't. Because Scorpio and Leo are both fixed. So it could be something with not square. They're fixed. They're both fixed to each other.
So what's one word you would describe astrology?
One word. All
Yeah.
right, I need a moment. Reflection.
Okay. It's a good time to reflect. I tend to reflect a lot when I'm
Well, I'm
my
thinking of it more as a
stuff.
mirror of the soul. So it's a blueprint.
Yeah.
But I think that I like the word reflection. I could have said roadmap. I could have said
Yeah.
blueprint, but I think reflection is a little bit more poetic because
Say
it's not so
insightful.
finite. I want us to get away from black and white. So I will
Yeah.
not zodiac shame. I'm gonna let you in on a secret, okay?
Okay.
So lean in, everybody. You may feel that you do better with certain sun sign people than others, but don't shame the ones that you don't feel so comfy cozy with. Just see that, okay, a little more challenging, but I'm still going to accept them. And I'm not going
Like
to,
with me and Geminis. Remember I told you like Geminis.
don't go there. Don't even say it. Don't put it
I'm
out.
like an
And
anti-Gemini. And
have we all stepped in a
I
big
realized
pile?
that I
Yeah.
have a Gemini baby and
See what happens?
the universe
See?
threw a
That's
curveball and said, you
that's
know what? I'm gonna give
karma.
you a
That
Gemini
is
baby.
karma at work at its best.
Yes.
So, have I had relationships with a series of the same sign that shall remain unnamed? Absolutely. Did I fall into the same pits? Yes, I did. Did I step in the same big old steaming pile of poo-poo? Yes, I did. As I aged, as I matured, as I started to really pay attention to it, did I start to catch myself before I stepped in the caca? Yes, I did.
Aka. Yep. The universe has threw a curveball with that one. I was like, wow.
But we're
I
all
thought
12
I thought he was gonna
signs.
be a Cancer baby because his due date was in Cancer season, or I'm
I
gonna call
have
it
known
not
people who
Cancer
have
season,
taken,
but
yeah, but I've known people that did crazy extreme measures. Don't do that. It's nature. Let nature be. But here's the deal. We are all 12 signs. We are all of the planets. We
yeah, I
are
have Gemini in
all
my birth
of the,
chart.
you can't not have it. You can't remove a sign or a planet.
Yeah. Yep.
You are all 12 signs, people. Accept it. Learn
Yep.
how to work with it. It is it is a it is a map that you are now given, and you're playing a game of life, and your directive is to use the energy and the information to your highest good and for the highest good of everyone and everything and the planet, and to be good, do good, and make good choices.
Yeah. All
And learn to
right.
love.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being a guest on my show. Like I really appreciate it. Like you've really dropped some knowledge about astrology and everything that comes with it. So I'm really happy. Oh, we're supposed to talk about your book.
Oh, well, I've got
Which
six
one is your
of
most
them.
recent?
Oh, the most recent is Cupid is a Bastard, and you can go to my
Ah,
book page at my site. This is a short story about Cupid, and he turns into the Far Eastern version of Cupid.
yeah,
Uh, it was inspired by a dating experience, and where I learned that that wasn't happening. It's got poetry. It brings you into self-love. It's got
yeah.
poetry, flash fiction, a short story, recipes. I've got recipes for love. I've got aromatherapy recipes. I used to teach aromatherapy, and people have been bugging me for my recipes. And I said, not until they're published. And
Yeah.
it's got tea recipes. My favorite tea recipe is called Chill the Flower Out. And it's got artwork because I have a bachelor's of fine art. It's got photography. It's got
Oh, wow.
drawings of mine. Yeah. So and
Yeah.
I started writing a lot of it at the end of my mother's life. And when she transformed and left her body and went to the next realm, I kept writing. And so it helped me really process the grief. And it is my hope that when you read it, it will make you feel love and make you more accepting of yourself and the world as it is. You can go see my books, my blog, my podcast, all about me. You can hire me as a speaker. You can come to me for private sessions. And you can certainly put me on your stage or as a guest on your show at ambikadevi.com. AMBIKADEVI.com. And come visit me. Do not be afraid. Hit that message. Go follow me on Instagram and ask me questions because I want to share this with you. And I'm so grateful that you listened all the way to the end of this.
Yes. All right, everybody. So like, share this video, and also comment on this video. And we will see you guys next time. Bye bye.